Imagine this, a group of ancient Israelites, gathered under the starlit sky, their faces illuminated by flickering torches. They're not just any gathering, they're celebrating a miraculous victory against overwhelming odds. This scene could very well be the backdrop for Psalm 149, written approximately 2,500 years ago during the post-exilic period of Jewish history. Did you know that this psalm was likely composed to celebrate the rededication of Jerusalem's walls under Nehemiah around 445 BCE? It's fascinating how music and praise were used as powerful tools for community healing and national restoration. Have you ever wondered why celebrations often follow times of great struggle? The answer lies in human nature itself. We need moments of joy to balance our hardships, creating what psychologists call emotional equilibrium. This concept is beautifully demonstrated in Psalm 149, where celebration becomes both a spiritual practice and a strategic weapon against despair. Let's explore how this ancient song continues to speak powerfully to modern audiences today. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him, let the children of Zion be joyful in their King. Let them praise his name in the dance, let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people, he will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory, let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. The opening call to sing unto the Lord a new song reflects a profound understanding of worship's transformative power. In ancient Hebrew culture, the concept of a new song wasn't merely about musical innovation but represented a fresh revelation of God's character. Historical records from the Second Temple period, particularly those preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered between 1947 to 1956, reveal how communities would compose new songs to mark significant spiritual events or divine interventions. When the psalmist invites the congregation of saints to praise, he's referencing a specific historical context, the restoration of Jerusalem's community after decades of Babylonian captivity. Archaeological evidence from this period, including pottery shards and building foundations dated to 445 BCE through radiocarbon dating, shows rapid reconstruction efforts following Nehemiah's leadership. This physical rebuilding paralleled a spiritual renewal, where communal praise became the foundation for societal transformation. The instruction to incorporate dance, timbrels, and harps into worship wasn't arbitrary. These instruments carried deep cultural significance. The timbrel, similar to modern tambourines, had been used since Moses' sister Miriam led women in celebration after crossing the Red Sea, approximately 1250 BCE. Harps, evolving from simpler lyres, became sophisticated instruments by the 6th century BCE, as evidenced by artifacts discovered in Mesopotamia. Their inclusion symbolized both continuity with tradition and adaptation to contemporary expression. The phrase, "Let Israel rejoice in him that made him," connects directly to Genesis 1 verses 26 to 28, where humanity is described as created in God's image. This theological foundation established Israel's unique identity among ancient Near Eastern cultures. Unlike surrounding nations who worshipped multiple deities associated with natural forces, Israel maintained a monotheistic perspective that shaped their understanding of purpose and destiny. Historical documents from neighboring civilizations, such as the Cyrus Cylinder, 539 BCE, confirm the distinctiveness of Jewish monotheism during this period. The declaration that the Lord taketh pleasure in his peoples might seem counterintuitive given Israel's history of rebellion and exile. Yet this reflects a fundamental shift in covenant theology developing during the post-exilic period. Scholars like Professor William Brown of Columbia Theological Seminary have noted how texts from this era emphasize God's enduring commitment despite human failure. This theological development can be traced through prophetic writings from Jeremiah, 626 to 586 BCE, to Zechariah, 520 to 518 BCE, showing an evolving understanding of divine mercy. When the psalm mentions a singing aloud upon their beds, it references a practice documented in ancient Near Eastern cultures where evening prayers and family devotions formed essential community rituals. Excavations at sites like Lachish and Bethel, conducted throughout the 20th century, uncovered household shrines and prayer niches dating back to the 8th century BCE. These archaeological findings illuminate how personal and public worship intertwined in daily life. The imagery of a two-edged sword carries both literal and metaphorical significance. During the Persian period, 539 to 332 BCE, when this psalm was likely composed, swords evolved from simple bronze weapons to more sophisticated iron blades. The Royal Ontario Museum houses examples of these double-edged weapons from the 5th century BCE, illustrating their effectiveness in battle. Metaphorically, this sword represents truth and justice, concepts that gained prominence in Jewish thought during the post-exilic reforms under Ezra and Nehemiah. The call to execute vengeance upon the heathen requires careful contextual understanding. Modern readers might find this language troubling, but historical analysis reveals its meaning within specific circumstances. The term translated as vengeance, NA with macron QA with macron M, actually encompassed concepts of establishing justice and restoring proper order. Dr. Tremper Longman III, professor of biblical studies, notes how ancient legal systems viewed justice restoration as God's prerogative rather than personal revenge. The reference to binding kings with chains reflects actual historical events. When the Medes and Persians conquered Babylon in 539 BCE, they literally bound King Belshazzar and his officials, as recorded in contemporary accounts. However, the psalm uses this imagery to convey a deeper spiritual truth, that earthly powers ultimately answer to divine authority. This theme appears consistently in prophetic literature from Isaiah, circa 740 to 680 BCE, to Daniel, 6th century BCE. The mention of judgment written points to the development of Torah-based jurisprudence during the post-exilic period. The discovery of the silver scrolls in Ketef Hinnom, dated to the late 7th century BCE, revealed early versions of priestly blessings, demonstrating how written law became central to Jewish identity. By the time of Ezra's reforms, 458 BCE, the Torah had become the foundational document for both religious and civil matters. The concluding statement, "This honor of all his saints," reflects a democratization of holiness that emerged during the Second Temple period. Unlike earlier periods when only priests could perform sacred functions, post-exilic Judaism emphasized every believer's role in maintaining covenant faithfulness. The Elephantine papyri, 5th century BCE, discovered in Egypt, show how ordinary Jews participated actively in religious life beyond temple rituals. Throughout history, Psalm 149 has influenced various movements seeking social justice while maintaining spiritual integrity. During the Protestant Reformation of the 16th century, reformers like Martin Luther, 1483 to 1546, drew inspiration from its emphasis on communal praise and justice. The hymnody developed during this period often incorporated themes from Psalm 149, blending theological depth with musical expression. In the 19th century, African American spirituals frequently echoed the Psalm's themes of triumph over oppression through faith. Scholars like Dr. Henry Mitchell, expert in African American liturgical traditions, have documented how enslaved communities found hope in these ancient words, transforming them into powerful expressions of resilience. The Underground Railroad secret songs often contained coded references to Psalm 149's promises of deliverance. Modern psychological research supports the Psalms' wisdom regarding the connection between praise and emotional well-being. Studies published in the Journal of Positive Psychology, 2011, demonstrate how regular participation in communal singing reduces stress hormones and increases oxytocin levels. This scientific validation aligns with the ancient understanding that praise possesses both spiritual and physiological benefits. The Psalms' structure follows a sophisticated pattern common in wisdom literature. Its 9 verses create a chiasmus, where themes mirror each other symmetrically. Ancient scribes trained in temple schools would have recognized this literary device, which served both mnemonic and theological purposes. The Aleppo Codex, completed around 930 CE, one of the oldest Hebrew Bible manuscripts, preserves this structural integrity. Musically, Psalm 149 has inspired countless compositions across centuries. Gregorian chants from the 9th century CE set its words to plainsong melodies, while Baroque composers like Heinrich Schütz, 1585 to 1672, created elaborate motets based on its text. Contemporary Christian musicians continue this tradition, adapting its message for modern audiences while maintaining its core themes. The Psalms' emphasis on beautifying the meek with salvation anticipates Jesus' teachings in the New Testament. While separated by centuries, both texts share a concern for empowering the marginalized. Historians note how early Christian communities particularly valued Psalm 149 for its alignment with Jesus' mission statement in Luke 4 verses 18 to 19. The Odes of Solomon, circa 100 CE, discovered in 1909, show how early believers integrated its themes into their worship practices. Archaeological evidence from Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, reveals how different Jewish sects interpreted Psalm 149's military imagery. The Essenes, known for their pacifist stance, understood these verses metaphorically, focusing on spiritual warfare rather than physical conflict. Their commentaries, dated to the 2nd century BCE through carbon dating, provide valuable insights into diverse interpretive approaches. The Psalms' influence extends beyond religious contexts into political philosophy. John Locke, 1632 to 1704, in his 2 treatises of government, drew upon its themes of justice and divine authority to argue for limited government. His work significantly impacted democratic thought, particularly in shaping America's founding documents. The Library of Congress holds original copies showing how colonial leaders reference such biblical passages in their arguments for independence. Modern applications of Psalm 149 appear in various peace-building initiatives worldwide. Organizations like Musicians Without Borders use its principles of combining artistic expression with justice advocacy. Their programs in conflict zones from Palestine to Colombia demonstrate how ancient wisdom remains relevant in addressing contemporary challenges. Evaluation reports from 2018 document measurable improvements in community relations through these arts-based interventions. The Psalms' call to maintain praise even in challenging circumstances resonates deeply with modern neuroscience. Research published in Nature Neuroscience, 2019, shows how practicing gratitude and praise activates brain regions associated with resilience and problem-solving. This biological mechanism explains why ancient spiritual practices often proved effective in helping communities navigate difficult times. Historical records from the Maccabean Revolt, 167 to 160 BCE, illustrate how Psalm 149 served as both battle cry and comfort. First Maccabees, though not canonical in all traditions, provides detailed accounts of how Jewish fighters sang psalms during their struggle against Seleucid oppression. These narratives, supported by archaeological finds of weapons and fortifications from this period, demonstrate the practical application of spiritual warfare. The Psalms' emphasis on communal participation reflects broader ancient Near Eastern values regarding collective identity. Sumerian and Akkadian texts from the 3rd millennium BCE show similar patterns of community-oriented worship. However, Israel's distinct contribution lay in emphasizing individual responsibility within corporate worship. The Amarna letters, 14th century BCE, diplomatic correspondence between Egypt and Canaan, highlight how unique this approach was among contemporary cultures. Modern educational theory incorporates elements from Psalm 149's approach to learning through repetition and action. The combination of verbal praise, physical movement, dance, and instrumental accompaniment creates what educators call multimodal learning experiences. Studies from Harvard's Graduate School of Education, 2017, demonstrate how this method enhances retention and understanding, validating ancient pedagogical wisdom. The Psalm's concluding exhortation to praise serves as both benediction and challenge. Throughout history, communities facing persecution or hardship have found strength in these final words. During the Holocaust, hidden synagogues in Nazi-occupied Europe continued reciting Psalm 149, preserving hope amidst darkness. Eyewitness accounts collected by Yad Vashem document numerous instances of clandestine worship using this psalm's words. As we reflect on Psalm 149's enduring legacy, consider how its ancient wisdom speaks to our modern condition. In an age dominated by digital communication and virtual connections, its call to embodied praise offers a powerful antidote to isolation. Whether through traditional worship services or contemporary expressions of faith, the Psalm's invitation to celebrate community and justice remains profoundly relevant. This remarkable composition continues to bridge ancient and modern worlds, offering timeless insights into human spirituality and social responsibility. From its historical roots in post-exilic Jerusalem to its current applications in global peace-building initiatives, Psalm 149 demonstrates the power of praise to transform both individual lives and entire communities. Its message challenges us to consider how we might integrate celebration, justice, and community in our own contexts, carrying forward the legacy of those ancient voices raised in praise beneath the starlit desert sky. Before you go, I want to personally invite you to be part of our growing community here at Prayer Universe. If this video touched your heart or brought you peace, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a prayer or message that can uplift your spirit. But most importantly, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share just one word or phrase of motivation that this video inspired in you, whether it's hope, gratitude, peace, or something else. Your words matter deeply to us because they help guide the content we create for this channel. Together, let's build a space filled with faith, encouragement, and connection. Thank you for being here, and remember, every prayer counts. See you in the next one.